Breathless. From childhood, Daniel knew life was different for him. Asthma was his shadow, following him everywhere. Each day felt like a battle, and every breath carried the fear of being his last. His parents watched him with worry, always ready with inhalers, always praying he would not collapse again. At school, he struggled to keep up. Running, playing, even laughing too hard could trigger a crisis. Yet Daniel fought to live normally, forcing a smile through the pain. But behind closed doors, the weight of it all crushed him. The sound of his own wheezing at night, the constant hospital visits, the stares of people who never understood it drained him. And though he tried to hide it, the mental scars ran deep. One weekend, his friends invited him out. They wanted fun, freedom, and laughter. Daniel hesitated. His parents had warned him never to push himself too hard, but he longed to feel normal, to belong, to live like any other young boy. At the poolside, his friends laughed and played. Daniel stayed at the edge, smiling, but quietly keeping distance. He couldn't swim, and his lungs already felt heavy. But then the teasing began. They called him weak, too careful, too boring, and before he could protest, 3 of them pushed him into the water. The water swallowed him. He thrashed, arms flailing, heart pounding. Panic rose as his chest tightened. He gasped for air, but his asthma struck like a thief. His friends stood above, laughing, thinking he was pretending, as he often did to avoid rough play. But this time, it was no joke. His vision blurred, his body weakened, and his last desperate cry for help was lost beneath the water. Moments later, his body went limp. Only then did the laughter stop. He was pulled out and rushed to the hospital. But by the time the doctors examined him, Daniel had slipped into a coma. Machines breathed for him. His parents arrived, their cries echoing through the sterile walls. They sat by his bed day and night, holding his cold hands, whispering prayers, begging for one sign of life. Days became weeks, weeks became months. Every sunrise was a reminder of their son's silence. His mother's health began to crumble under the weight of sorrow. His father, once strong, broke into tears behind closed doors. Their mental strength slowly unraveled as they watched their only child trapped between life and death. The 3 friends who pushed him were arrested for attempted murder. Overnight, their carefree lives shattered. Fear, guilt, and shame consumed them. In prison, they cried themselves to sleep, haunted by the image of Daniel sinking. Their families struggled to neighbors whispered. Schools expelled them, and hope became a stranger. They prayed each night for Daniel to wake up, believing only his voice could save them. But as the months dragged on, they feared the worst, that they had destroyed not just his life, but their own as well. After for long months, the impossible happened. Daniel opened his eyes. His parents rushed to him, tears streaming, joy flooding the room. The miracle they had begged for was finally here. But the joy soon turned to sorrow. Daniel did not recognize them. His memory was gone, wiped away by the trauma. He could not recall his childhood, his parents, or even his illness. The boy who had suffered so much was now a stranger to himself. The trial of his friends continued. The court needed Daniel to speak, but he could not. His parents, despite their grief, pleaded for mercy. They told the court that forgiveness was the only path forward, that Daniel's healing mattered more than punishment. The boys were released, but freedom did not erase their guilt. They walked away scarred, knowing their laughter had nearly cost a life. Daniel began therapy. Doctors and tutors worked to teach him not only how to live with his condition again, but how to live at all. He was shown his past through pictures, stories, and the tearful voices of his parents. Each day was a struggle anew, beginning forced upon a boy who had already suffered so much. His parents lived in constant fear of another crisis. His friends lived in regret, their mental health fractured by what had happened. And Daniel, though alive, carried the weight of a life he could no longer remember. The story did not end with his awakening. The scars were deeper than the doctors could see. His parents battled depression and anxiety. His friends lived with guilt, and Daniel's own mind remained a battlefield of confusion and fear. Every breath reminded them of the fragility of life. Though they tried to move forward, none of them were truly free. They were bound together by one tragic moment that changed them forever. And so, Daniel lived breathless, but still breathing, while everyone around him struggled to heal wounds no medicine could cure.